What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Critical Beard Podcast. I am one of your hosts, the Cardinal. This is my bud and partner in crime, the Meatball.
The Meatball. Partner
in crime. The Meatball. The Formolo. And we're here to give you another fresh episode full of intrigue and drama and insanity. It's going to be nuts up in here, y'all. So just stick with us for a minute. I'm doing like the Zach Galifianakis character from the campaign. Was that the movie?
Oh, the one where he was running for the president or mayor or something.
That movie was really funny, and everyone we don't talk about that movie
because it was kind of forgettable.
It was funny. He was funny.
Didn't it also have Will Ferrell in it?
Will Ferrell was also in it. Doesn't he get bit by a snake?
He always gets bit by snakes, it seems, or bit by something.
Every time.
It's in his clause whenever he gets hired onto a movie. It's like, I have to be bit by something.
My favorite Will Ferrell thing will still always be the get off the shed joke from SNL. When he's just sitting there and they invites the people over for his barbecue and he's like, "Hey guys, thanks for coming, blah, blah, blah. John, get off the shed!" He's just yelling at his kids to get off the shed, and he gets increasingly more insane. I love it. So anyways, let's start with a little segment called What You Playing? What you playing in summer?
What am I playing? I'm playing Final Fantasy 2. I just finished Final Fantasy 1.
Wait a second.
I know.
Now, hold on.
I know.
If I'm right, that game is on the Game Boy Advance, but you seem to be holding a DS.
Yeah.
What's happening?
I know.
How are you doing that?
And apparently, this isn't the last one either. So I don't know what their marketing campaign is all about, but I'm into it.
Final Fantasy. Do you think the last one will be called Final Fantasy?
I really like how when Sakaguchi left Square, his first game by himself was called The Last Story. It's like...
Yeah. There you go.
It's like, Final Fantasy? That's cute.
It wasn't the grade of the game.
It was all right.
Yeah, it was.
It had some interesting combat.
But did you beat it?
Mechanics.
Oh, combat. Maybe we'll get into that later.
Did I beat it? No.
Combat.
The only out of the Operation Rainfall games I beat was Xenoblade. And I bought all three, too.
Xenoblade was the only real great one.
It was like Pandora's Tower.
I think.
And...
Yeah, because it's like Xenoblade was amazing. Then Last Story was fine. And then the Pandora's Tower was, I
thought that one was pretty cool. Each three of them had very interesting game combat, actually. I'm not even trying to peg our topic, but they all three had very distinct combat systems.
I do remember Last Story having some cool combat too, as well.
Yeah, that's all I'm doing. I'm playing some Final Story?
Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I beat the first one. It was awesome.
Oh, because you're playing 2, right?
Yeah. I've never actually sat down and did a natural playthrough of the first game. I always just kind of...
Same.
Yeah, just sat there and just went to a walkthrough and just kind of... but it was really fun. It felt like I was on an adventure and stuff. It was a nice respite from Chrono Cross, which was just it's Chrono Cross. But this one was kind of hey, you know what? Go find the crystals. Just go have fun, man. Just go.
That's the actual dialogue in the beginning. Go hang out, bro.
Pretty much the king is just find the crystals or whatever. I don't know. You don't have to.
It did age better than Dragon Warrior.
That's fine. Oh yeah.
Dragon Warrior didn't age well.
It definitely did a lot of things that Dragon Quest didn't do back then. But...
You know what I think our next topic should be? Best games with the name Dragon in them.
Dang.
A lot of good ones. There's not a lot of bad Dragon games.
No. Double Dragon. Except the first Double Dragon. That's not a very fun game to play. Because it's one player.
Dragon's
Come on.
Crown. But that's not why we're here today. So that's all you just...
Yeah, I'm playing some Death Stranding here and there, but that's pretty much it.
Cool. Sounds good.
Pretty tight.
Make me want to play Final Fantasy with all those pics you post in.
Yeah. Follow us on Instagram, and the other ones.
At the Cardinal and Meatball Show.
Probably. .com, .org, .gov, .edu.
All of them. We own all the domains.
We just went ahead and just bought all of them.
Yeah, we had to.
Yeah. Well, so what you playing?
What I'm playing?
What y'all playing?
what I'm playing? I'm playing I'm still finishing some side quests and stuff in Ghost of Tsushima, but I'm sliding off that slope. You know, I spent a good amount of time with it. Finished the story.
How many hours are you in?
There's no timer. There's like nothing to tell you.
I don't like that.
No, me neither. Even though
that.
I get it, because like they're like, oh, don't worry about the time.
No, I don't get it.
I do want to, but I want to know.
Yeah.
For like purposes of like I don't know, like anecdotally, like I want to. Like,
well, I like to know how much when I'm done with the game. I like to know how much of my life I put away into that game. Gosh darn it!
So I know I've put at least 40 45 hours.
I'm saying, I was about to say like 50 hours. That sounds about right.
What's really funny is I'm not the first person to say this, but I think it was Yang. I think he said it. I was watching his absolutely masterfully done Last of Us 2 review. It was really well done. Just like it's a really good review. It's like really long and just really well thought out. His vocabulary is almost as good as Tim Rogers. No one's is.
Come on, dude. That guy makes up his own words.
Yeah.
That's how good his vocabulary is. But
he's like Beck. Yeah, he said it. That, you know, he put like over twice the amount of time, you know, in Ghost of Tsushima that he did in The Last of Us. But like Ghost of Tsushima felt shorter. He's like Last of Us felt longer than Ghost of Tsushima, even though it's not. He's like, that's the, you know, and I feel like exactly the same way. Like, I feel like I could, because like Ghost of Tsushima, I want to still just ride my horse around and just do stuff. Whereas in Last of Us, I was like, oh my God, I'm done. Thank God, get out of here. Like, as soon as I was done, I was like, get the disc out of here and put something else in there. I'm finishing up stuff there, and then I'm really hyper focused right now on finishing Dragon Quest 11, which
you're gonna
just
finish that out, huh?
Oh yeah, despite its pacing in some places, the early pacing's actually decent. It's just like that whole big event thing, and then, you know, start from scratch thing that they do.
It went on a little too. That's when the big, you know what part that we were talking about happened. Mm-hmm. I think like a couple hours after that, I kind of just tapered off. Hurry up.
It's deceptively making you feel like it's gonna be a slog, but actually kind of ramps up like after that first little bit. It's not nearly as like I feel like Final Fantasy VI's after event thing pacing was actually a little longer drawn out.
Yeah, but the thing is with Final Fantasy VI, all of it was entirely optional.
Yeah,
like you could just wake up from the event and be like, well, I'm going to go take down Kefka, or you can be like, I just want this guy and this guy.
Oh, that's right.
Or I want this guy with. Yeah, it's all open ended from there. So you can kind of control the pacing at that point.
Yeah, that's right. I forget it. It kind of turns into a Breath of the Wild type thing at that point. But yeah, no, despite that, man, I still can't get over how much of that game oozes quality. Like, just, one of those games where you're like 55 hours into the game and you're like, okay, there's still insane amounts of quality in this game. Yeah. Like, I can't believe like how much like different, like, again, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but there's things that happen to certain characters and like animations that change and totally like different, like there's different character models and different stuff, and I'm just like, man, they're putting so much into this. Like, it's just crazy because they could have just stopped, but they just like kept going. And yeah, it may be a little long in the tooth.
That's kind of a Dragon, Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest thing, like I remember playing through Dragon Quest I flip back between Dragon Warrior and Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest 7 when it got re-released on the 3DS years back.
I never played 7. Actually,
It was good. I didn't finish it because it was so long. I put like probably like 80 hours into it, and I didn't feel like I was like anywhere near the end. I was just like,
yeah,
no, I'm good. I'm good right now.
yeah.
Never went back to it.
Xenoblades have that too, but yeah, no, I'm really, really enjoying it. I love the visual style. The battle system never gets old. We'll probably get into that later. And yeah, just the Toriyama's character design is just so charming. Mm-hmm. The only thing I do wish would evolve a little bit with Dragon. So many dragons.
so many dragons.
With Dragon Quest is.
It's the name of our new podcast.
Is the music? I kind of wish they would like start skewing a little bit more epic and a little less like dun 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 dun.
Yeah,
like
but that's
it's almost too cheery all the time. Even the
is the Dragon Quest though.
Hardcore boss battles are just like it's just like these like dragging
but I don't know. That's the charm of those games, because even going back to like the old Dragon Quest, like
you realize that the sound effects are the same.
Well, like it presents this really colorful, like bouncy, adventurous music with like enemies that have pun names, but then like the story is like extremely dark. You're just like this.
Yeah, why is this so much shit that happens?
So dark. Yeah,
whoa. And I think always catches you off guard.
Like and I think if they tried to make it like, I don't know. I think it's good that Square Enix has carved a separate path when acquiring and merging.
One kept with tradition, and the other
and the other just kept with the Final Fantasy.
New things. Yeah. Whereas Final Fantasy has been obviously way less consistent, and sometimes it's great, and sometimes it's just bad. It's just like it's doing something different every time. Whereas this is like it's Dragon Quest, like what it is, but it's always quality. It's like it's always good. It's always well made.
So I hope they never. But they iterate enough, unlike some franchises, Pokemon, that every game at least feels. Yep. Yeah, I don't know what that was. Coronas. But I hope they never deviate from there.
Yeah, I mean, cool, because it's really awesome too to play a game with those like.
Yeah, it feels
the visuals have such a like gorgeous, like Pixar almost vibe to them, but with that Toriyama charm.
Yeah,
it almost like makes me want a Chrono Trigger made in that like engine. Like how cool that would look.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm
better not ever touch Chrono Trigger. I will fight them tooth and nail.
I'm still, it's funny. Like I said, I'm like thinking about Dragon Quest when I'm not playing it, and I'm like, damn, that's like the 4th game this year, and only one of them came out this year. The Chrono Trigger thought about it when I wasn't playing it. Didn't come out this year, obviously. Xenoblade thought about it when I wasn't playing it. That version came out this year, sure. And then Dragon Quest 11, thinking about it when I'm not playing it, same thing. And Ghost of Tsushima was the only other one that I'm really like, man, I just want to get on it. Yeah. I'm just like in an RPG. I'm just in an RPG mood. Like this whole year, I'm just like, let me just play RPGs. Jesus, I don't want to do anything else.
Welcome to my life.
Other games are stupid. Don't make me shoot dogs.
How would you do this?
I only want to kill them with a sword. To me, in a turn-based fashion.
If they're cute and they have funny pun names, that's my only prerequisite.
I love even like they're like some of the like final like epic ass dragons still like
they're still cute.
They're still just like
they're kind of dumpy and like doe-eyed.
I love the death animations, like when you kill like the little guys with the pike staffs and they throw it up in the air and it like pierces them and they die. Like
the cucumber guys. Whatever
the cucumber guys.
Whatever they're called.
There's some great death.
There are rumors. We can segue into news. There are rumors that Dragon Quest X is going to be making its way finally stateside, which was the MMO.
MMO, yeah. Which that was the only thing they followed with Final Fantasy, is they did like an MMO right around that 10.
I don't know how. Like, how is that? Like, I've never seen footage. So I don't know how the heck that.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it other.
But that'd be really cool if we got it, and if it was like like free to start, free to play.
Here's the thing: why in the world are they calling any of these, like Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest, why are they calling them numbered? Why are they numbered? Why are they not just Dragon Quest Online or Final Fantasy Online?
Because it ruins my collective thoughts. Because like I'm playing through all the Final Fantasies right now, but I can't say I'm playing through all the Final Fantasies because
you're not going to play 11 and 14.
I'm not playing through 14, so it's like
11 servers are still up.
I know. No, you know what? The Fantasy Star Online, they're like first game. They're still like rogue servers. Yeah.
The Dreamcast?
Yeah, they're still like rogue servers up, like personal servers.
I played the tits out of that game.
It's never ending. I mean, there's like EverQuest is still on too. It's yeah.
So, speaking of that, let's roll into some news. What news we got?
What news?
Hey, what kind of nose we have?
We got a pretty big one. Nose. I don't know. Do we have any news?
Not really.
Scott.
There's going to be Scott.
Scott sucks.
Scott.
I never thought I'd say this, but I miss Steve.
Well, we fired him, man.
I know, but it doesn't mean I can't miss him.
Yeah, but he's gone, man. Just let it go. Steve's not coming back. Oh shit. He's here. I don't want him here now.
So news.
Nudes. There's really not a lot of nudes. We got PS PlayStation news. PlayStation is going to hold a conference on Thursday.
Conference.
And we don't know.
Apparently for just PS4 and VR games.
I don't even know where.
I don't know.
Like, I mean, maybe
what could they be showing?
Showing a few things that the PS4 games that maybe people assumed were just PS5 games. Maybe showing some of the like Spider-Man, Miles. That's going to be a cross-gen. Maybe show some Far Cry 6 gameplay or something. I don't know. Maybe
it's just like
because Far Cry 6 is definitely going to be another like cross-gen.
It's Ubisoft.
Yeah, Ubisoft's going to definitely do that. They've done it. I mean, what were the remember the launch titles for the PS4 and Xbox One were Far Cry 4 and Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Yeah, Ubisoft ain't gonna not do that. But yeah, I really don't know what to expect, John. I don't know what else Sony. They don't need to do really anything else this year. They released two of. I'm really surprised how well Ghost of Tsushima is selling. Despite it being a new IP, it's selling really well.
Yeah, but it may be a new IP, but it's a well-established company, and it's a concept that everyone has wanted forever.
Yes,
like everyone's wanted a game like this, so it's like
they're like, wow, people really wanted that. Yes,
yeah. Thank you for listening to us.
They were like, make the Assassin's Creed in Japan, make the Assassin's Creed in Japan,
but better, they were like, better,
and then
better.
Sucker Punch was like, fuck it, we'll do it.
Yeah. So honestly, I was not suspecting that game to not like knock it out of the park.
Yeah, so. It's doing a lot better than Sony anticipated, and of course, The Last of Us Part 2 is selling like mad as well because of obvious reasons. Because. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's really not a lot. The news there. There's the whole thing where the PS4 controller is not going to work with PS5. No shit.
Yeah.
I think the more they're like, well, because it's like Sony. I heard people are complaining about it. Like, it was just so stupid, and they're like, Sony came out. They're like, well, we want people to have like the definitive like experience with our new controller, which they've totally changed and added new stuff to, and it has like it's not even the Dual Shock anymore. It's the Dual Sense, which is kind of dumb, but who cares? Whatever. At least they're doing something new and exciting. There's going to be like the haptic feedback stuff, and like pull the bowstring. It's going to be hard to pull a bowstring on a the new Horizon game is going to have like bow tension and stuff on the on the triggers and
dope.
I mean, I don't know. Some of that stuff sounds cool. There's a different mic audio. There's different light bar. Like there's all kinds of different stuff. There's a create button now. Like I don't know, whatever. Xbox controller is going to be backwards compatible though. They're not even making a new controller.
Because it's the same thing. It's just like
the same
on steroids. It's just steroids.
Which is consumer friendly.
Yeah, sure.
Just not exciting.
No, it's consumer friendly, but it's like it's more like consumer palatable. Like it's not really like it's not going to get the average consumer excited because it's just like, oh, I'm in this to buy something.
It's going to get the person who doesn't like to spend a whole bunch of money on a bunch of new controllers. They're going to be like, oh, cool, I can just use my old controller. But and I think on a base level, they're going to be like, that's really good. But like I think in the long run, I don't know. I just don't feel like it's that exciting. Because here's the thing. So people are acting like consoles are computers, but they're not. Because if you wanted to play on a computer, you would just have a computer.
Just buy a computer.
Why are you playing these games? I mean, I get there's the argument that of course, a lot of Nintendo games and Sony first-party games aren't on PC, but plenty of all of the Xbox games are on PC. So why?
That was their whole drive last gen.
And to me, I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, it's because a video game console is like a toy. Like it's like a toy you want displayed. It's like, I have my 2XL sitting on my table over there, and I have a Mega Man statue, and I have fucking.
Well, it's the Nintendo mentality, because I mean Nintendo, since 1887, they're a toy company. They sell toys. They make toys.
And their consoles look like toys. And
you buy it and you play it for 7-10 years until the new toy comes out, and then you buy that new toy.
And everyone's like, well, the PS5 is going to clash with my living room. Like, every console clashes with your living room. Have you not seen consoles?
Yeah.
Do you have a Wii? I mean, do you have a GameCube? Like, what are you talking about? It's like, and I'm just like, so you sit there with your, like, SNES and your, NES Mini, and you don't think those are clashing with anything?
Right, your absurdly tiny.
But they're classic. So, yeah, I don't know. It's what it is. It's fine. I guess.
Yeah. Whatever.
You know what? I think the Xbox shouldn't come with a controller. They'll be like, you guys already have one.
No, they're gonna pull a Nintendo with the new 3DS XL.
Yeah, where there's no charger.
Y'all don't need a charger. It's the same charger. It's like they knew. They're like, anyone who's gonna buy this already has a 3DS, and they were right. But that was still a blunder. I remember.
I do remember when I first bought one and I realized it didn't come with a charger. I was actually pretty pissed off. I was like,
yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I know.
I called the store even. I was like, is this right? Like, are these not supposed to? And they're like, God, no, they don't come with them. I'm like, fuck. How much are your chargers? They're like, it's still $11.99. I'm like, okay. Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm not mad. I'm still mad. So that is our small skeletal frame of news, and we are going to mosey on to today's topic, which is what makes a good JRPG combat system.
Because we like JRPGs, and we're in a JRPG mood this year. That's what
I don't know if you can tell,
year.
But if you follow our Instagram or like anything, we may or may not reference JRPGs a lot.
Like 90% of the time.
Yeah. Everything references back to Chrono Trigger. And
everything goes back. Everything goes back to Square, really.
Square One, what'd you say? Bada bing and a little bada boom. Bada boom, a little bada bing. So yeah, Meatball, what do you think makes a compelling and well-made JRPG combat system? Maybe we could start by talking about what games succeed, which ones fail.
I like ones that make me feel like I am gosh, I don't know. Like, because I have a list of like systems I like. I'm just trying to think of like a unifying thing that ties all these together. I guess ones that have like a horizontal kind of system to it. So like the materia system, like where your combat utilities isn't based on how much you've grinded. It's based on how you've kind of formed your materia set, or like the element system from Chrono Cross, or like the junction system from Final Fantasy VIII. where like the combat system itself is kind of based around a horizontal build instead of just.
I think a good RPG combat system is one that tricks you into thinking that it's a strategy game, but it tricks you into thinking it's an action game. Where like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not talking about like action RPGs. I'm talking about like where like in Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy VII, there's times where you're like playing a fucking battle and it's turn-based, but you're still going, fuck yeah! You know, like
well, I mean, even those are like technically those are like action. Technically, those are action RPGs because they run on an active time. But even no, they really are, because if you just let that controller go, you will die. Yeah. So there is like a sense of like urgency. But I mean, playing through. Are you playing a wait mode?
Wait, baby, that's what I want to wait.
I want to wait. I want to play it the wrong way.
But I've been playing when I played through Final Fantasy 1, because that's just like a pure turn-based, you know, it's like Dragon Quest, where you put everyone's input in, and then based on their agility, they go in order. And even then, like I was like that like even that's engaging, because like once you hit that last input in, you kind of sit back and then you watch everything play out, and you're like, oh
yeah, you watch.
Oh my gosh!
And so weird. I don't like. So this is what I've tried to figure out why I don't generally like. I don't like tactical, like strategy RPGs. Like I just they don't.
I only like a few. Like I like Advanced Wars.
Like 2.
And I like Final Fantasy Tactics.
I like Final Fantasy Tactics. I like Advanced Wars, and I liked Fire Emblem Three Houses. But I didn't like any other Fire Emblem game before that. And I don't know why that one was so engaging. Maybe it was just the cinematic part of it. But there's something about that, because like an RPG is still strategy and combat, but it's just, maybe it's just on such a smaller scale, or that you're putting in the inputs and you're watching them happen so much faster. Maybe it's because like strategy RPGs, you've got to like put everybody into position before anything happens. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I like I said, I think it has to do with it's a strategy game, but when it all unleashes, it makes you feel like you're in the action. It makes you feel like these guys are all kicking ass. And I don't think that like strategy RPGs really have that. I mean,
because strategy games, they're much more. Look, I think it's because they're larger in scale. Like you're not just controlling a couple of characters on a single screen.
It's like you're playing a whole dungeon.
Yeah. Simultaneously.
Versus one combat at a time. And I think maybe it's my ADD, that I want to just do that one at a time combat.
I like the more personal, small scale nature of just your regular JRPG battle. I guess Final Fantasy Tactics kind of hits that middle mark, because it's not, the battles really are never that big. You know what I mean?
They're a little smaller.
They're a little smaller. There's like a party of like, how many party members are in that game? Like 4, 5,
maybe 6.
6. I don't know. It's been a long time since I played that game. But definitely smaller than Advanced Wars or Fire Emblem. Those have entire armies.
Yeah, you'll have like a character that has like armies with them and all that shit. So, for me, so I think like we go in order of like advancement, right? So like you have your genesis of JRPGs, which everyone would probably, Dragon Warrior and Final Fantasy. Yeah. And
which that just goes to, I mean, if you want to go further back, which is funny, we're talking about strategy role-playing games, because Final Fantasy and Dragon Warrior took inspiration from Dungeons and Dragons, and Dungeons and Dragons originated as just a rule set, basically like move my guys through it. It all started there.
Yeah, it's a very that's where turn-based comes from, and the stats and the roll, the roll chance. And there's even games like Knights of the Old Republic, which are straight up like there's actual roll like you're rolling a die like every time which I mean I guess in all turn-based games you kind of are, because there's like critical hit chance, your accuracy, whether certain things will hit, or whether you'll
Knights. I think Kotor used literally
a dice roll system.
The actual D&D math, which that's always
yes,
fun.
Yeah, because when you went into the skills, it would say like critical roll for this will roll, and then it would talk about rolling a die. Now I'm a Dungeons and Dragons, like I don't play Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, it is interesting to me. I'd maybe like to jump in on a game at some point, like in my life, just to say that I did it, because I'm like one of those guys. Like I'm a super nerd, but like for some reason I don't like mod PC games or like play Dungeons and Dragons and stuff. Like I feel like I'm like a I don't know, like I'm a little different level or at a different plane or something.
Nintendo nerd.
The stuff doesn't appeal to me as much. I think like I'm like more of a simple nerd. Like I want my games to like play for me. I don't want to do too much math.
Luckily, there are all different types of like pen and paper systems. Some are like super simple, like you might enjoy. Not a lot.
Yeah,
of
so I figured we'd start from the video gaminess of like the D&D evolution, which was like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest were like the first two big ones, and then those battle systems were so good and worked so well that they're still alive and well today. Just slightly, tweaked a little bit. I mean, if you play Dragon Quest 11,
Dragon Quest 11 is
so relic. Traditional. Other than the pep system,
the pep really it's like just a little twist of lime. Like it really doesn't change much,
Yeah, it's barely, but I mean, it's a stone cold, straightforward action turn-based RPG, and then stuff like Persona as well is also just it's pretty straightforward. It's very slick, it's very stylized, but it's still, at the end of the day, it's extremely basic turn-based combat with some twists of lime in there. But those are examples of ones that have done it well, that have just taken that old system and just brought it in, into the modern time and just perfected the shit out of it. Other examples are obviously I can't think of too many.
They keep it traditional.
They keep it super tradish.
Yeah, not really. I mean, they're all going to be published by Atlas.
Lunar. Lunar was pretty traditional.
Yeah, but Lunar also had strategy elements. Like it was like kind of like a grid as well. Like you can move the guys around on it.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was like a grid / like traditional.
Suikoden was pretty standard, but it had a big party system, but it was
it was still turn-based though. Like everyone made their selection and then
that was a pretty standard one. But yeah, I mean, those are really. I think it's interesting to see that like that system works so well. Final Fantasy VII is another one for me that's other than the materia system.
Yeah,
it's just a very basic.
That's ATB though. Like you can conflate the two, but man, like when turn-based turned to active turn-based, like it's a world of difference of strategy. So instead of going, okay, play, my knight do this, and my monk do this, and you do that. All right. Oh, cool. Well, I was lucky that time. Instead of that, now you're just like, okay, oh my gosh, I gotta give him an item. I gotta give him a potion. Oh my gosh. Okay. Then I gotta go magic. And I go to a fire. Okay. It's.
I don't deal with that stress.
No man, but that's how the game. It doesn't matter if that's not how you play it. That's how the game is designed. Like it's designed to be a more balls to the walls active experience.
Yeah, I mean it makes you make you have to make the quicker decisions, but a lot of the way I play ATB games are just I use weight but then again, of course,
but that only cuts it in half though.
Because even if you're in weight, you still have to like go into your menu before it'll wait.
Yeah.
If you just leave it there, which I have done so many times, it'll you'll be just wiped out. You're like, fuck. I did that so much on Chrono Trigger where like I like, I got so used to like, whatever, and then like I'd reach it for my baby or something, and then it would just be like, I like look at my screen and my guys are all dead, and I was like, oh yeah, because they're just killing me, and I'm just standing there like a jackass.
Yeah.
So there's
I like the ATB system. Like I like it more than just regular turn-based, just because like I like the extra challenge of it.
Was 10?
10 was traditional.
Yeah,
Was the
10...
last return to traditional.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, I don't remember.
I think they called it. They called it conditional time battle. So instead of everyone make their input and then the turn go, it was, you make your input, guy goes, make your input, guy goes, and then they have like a line of like projected.
That's exactly how 11 and Persona also play. I think that's more the modern. Oh, and Octopath Traveler. That's another one that
I like 10. Like if I had to pick a traditional, like just a turn-based, strict turn-based, it would be 10. Like I love 10's.
10's combat system is the best thing about 10.
Yeah, I know. I like the music too, and I like the story.
Get out of here.
The plot is kind of here and there, but I like the story. The story's really interesting. Yeah. Woof. No, but yeah, I love swapping. I don't know why that's not used more. Like, why aren't there RPGs where I can just swap characters out mid battle? Like, why is that seen as such like a? Well, why is that seen as such like a? Oh,
it's not. It's too weird. It makes your full use of your party whenever you want. Yeah. In Dragon Quest XI, you can swap out party members, and sometimes I forget that you can. And last night I got wiped out by this fucking beast of a boss, because the game starts easy and it gets hard like towards the end, and I got wiped out by a beast of a boss, and like the rest of my party jumped in. I thought it was dead, and I was like, shit!
Oh, I have an extra life.
Yeah, pretty much, because you forget that like you can just switch them in, and then if you forget that, they just throw them in there for you. They're like, okay, here you go.
I forgot what Final Fantasy it was. They had during the final boss, you create like reservoir parties, and if like one party gets wiped out, then the reserve party comes in.
Is that not 6?
It might be 6.
I think it's the midway point, and 6 is when that. I know that's when that happens.
But I always thought that was interesting because it was like had little backups. It's like the game letting you know, like, this is gonna be hard as balls. Okay, you're gonna have to set up some backup.
And then like you didn't level. Like the teams are really unbalanced. You're like, shit, I didn't know I was gonna have to do this. There's like in 7 you do that too a little bit, and there was like the team that like I had to put like Cade Sith on, and I was like, fuck.
Cade Sith.
He's like level fucking 5. I don't know. Like, and they're like, wait, no, he can't be level 5. He's like level 30 when he joins you. No, he like D-levels. He D-levels.
He sucks so much. It sucks that he sucks so much because I really like Reeve, like the guy who controls him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's a really interesting character.
Yep.
It's just Cade Sith sucks, and I will not say his name correctly. He does not deserve to say his name correctly. Kachi, get out of here. What do I like Gaelic to you? It's Cade Sith, okay?
Kachi, bro. Kachi or death. So those are the more like traditional ones, and then like slowly as we've seen certain turn-based games moving towards something a little different, like Xenogears and Chrono Cross, which are still very somewhat traditional.
Late 90s, early 2000s, they really started experimenting with what they could do. Adding different ingredients. Yeah, I love Grandia is still one of my favorites because it's basically Chrono Trigger, but more dynamic. Like the characters are just running around everywhere, so it's very positional.
I almost feel like 2 games that really, really changed the mold, in my opinion, for this were Chrono Trigger and Secret of Mana. I think those were 2 of the really big ones that just like totally changed like what an RPG could be, because Secret of Mana took like the What If Zelda, and
it actually had like an RPG skeleton
around it.
What
If Zelda was an actual RPG.
Yeah.
And then Chrono Trigger was like, what if there was more like immersiveness in the RPG combat? What if it wasn't just like every time you get into a fight it's like,
what if it was just like left and right screen fight each other? What if it was
Yeah. And then of course there's some other ones like Zelda 2 has a very interesting. That's an action RPG. That's the most like RPG Zelda ever.
Yes.
Which is so weird. But that was like one of the first like action RPG. That's like the first action RPG I ever remember playing ever. Very, very disappointed in it when I played it because I didn't know what the fuck I was supposed to do. This game's hard in like a not fun way.
Like, go move the boulder. I hate this game.
And then there's like the more like where they took like the Secret of Mana stuff, and they completely explored it with the positional, character, the positional combat like Xenoblade Chronicles and
that to me the Xenoblade. I mean, I said this before, but Xenoblade's combat always reminds me of MMO combat.
Yeah, or FF10,
it's just like it's very like because MMOs also use positional stuff. Not all of them do, but they were kind of the first big genre to take advantage of. Where am I going to hit this enemy is going to matter. And the same thing with like Final Fantasy 12. Of course, Final Fantasy 12. The Gambit system is just every game that comes out that has non-controllable characters. I don't know why they don't have some sort of basic AI script.
No, I really wish they would have done that to the Xenoblade re-release. Would have been so cool to be able to customize what your AI.
Final Fantasy 7R.
That's a really good example of. I mean, I've had my quibbles with that game. But man, that combat system is
7R is one of my favorite combat systems, and the reason why I think it's so great. I mean, it's obviously the technical parts, but like it fills me with like the next game is gonna be even better. Like because there's so many like it feels like a good like foundational kind of like yes, and then this game is gonna be even better to play.
It kind of has that like it's got that like sort of turn-basedy like it's kind of like it's 15 and Kingdom Hearts' combat almost put together, but then it has
so much.
But then it has that slow motion that I can only really say that kind of reminds me of VATS in Fallout where stuff's kind of happening really slowly in the background while you're making your selection, and then you can switch to someone else. And so then what you effectively have is like you have Cloud and he can do Braver and he's in the middle of a slash and you switch to somebody else. So Cloud's in the background still performing Braver but super slow-mo and the epic music is happening. And you have Tifa and you're like, you do fucking your somersault kick and then she's like, whoa, and then she's doing her thing and then you flip over to Barrett and you're like, Barrett, do your fucking giant attack. And it's like just everybody's just it's so cinematic.
It felt very it felt like what was in your head when you were playing Final Fantasy VII in 1997. You're like,
or like,
this is what it looks like in my head.
Like what it would be like to play Advent Children, like when some of those combat scenarios where you're like, holy shit.
That was what Square was trying to do with Dissidia, which I think they succeeded for the most part.
Dissidia had a really played the Dissidia, the one for PS4.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's not a good game. But it was the developers changed. They went over the Ninja Theory, I think.
No, there's no way.
They switched it over to someone else. Like it wasn't an in-house developed game, because I mean it was an arcade game ported to consoles. But man, like those PSP Dissidia games had a really interesting concept, because they had like everyone had a pool of HP, and then they had a pool of like attack points basically, and there was an attack button to take away their attack points, and there was a button to use those attack points to take away their HP. So it was just like this like give and take fluctuation, which was made for a very much more strategic battle than like pretty much any kind of like beat 'em up, because it wasn't just beating up, it was like strategically whittling them away, getting enough attack power, and then attacking them. They did do a phone version. of this Cydia.
Did you just totally glitched out there, pal?
You did too.
you were like, they did a phone version of yeah. Like, I was like, is it really taking them as long as they just said yeah?
Yeah, but they did a phone version. It was really awesome because it was.
Well, I'll tell you
turn-based.
what, Skype, this call ain't getting 5 stars. Yeah, and then from there, like you have the jump from that you have the jump to like the full on, just like absolutely insanely action RPGs like Kingdom Hearts.
I don't really love those. I don't really. I need a little bit more meat. I need some numbers. I need some like menus. I like menus. That's what it is. I really like menus.
You probably do. What do you order usually?
Cheeseburgers on pizzas in my cheeseburgers.
Cheeseburgers on pizza, man. That's
heck
good.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I like this, and definitely 100% an ARPG, but Nier Automata is a JRPG that obviously has it's the best combat in a pure action RPG JRPG in my opinion, because the combat is fucking sublime in that game. Like, it's just like, because it's platinum. It's like playing Metal Gear Solid. It's like playing Metal Gear Revengeance, but it's an RPG and you're like leveling up while you're fighting.
It's good.
It's so good. Like, it's just I wish Platinum would make more RPGs, because they have such an awesome combat system that like an open world, like a game like The Witcher or something with that kind of combat would be just redonkulous. That being said, also Dragon's Dogma, speaking of other Dragon games, has really good combat for an RPG, JRPG, a JW RPG, if you will.
That's exactly what that game is.
It's totally, and it shows so well, because the stuff that Western RPGs do so well, that the game does the worst. And then all the like good stuff that JRPGs do, like the combat and the animation and like the
style
and all that, you know. But that game is such a strange.
So some of the ugliest like character models.
Oh god, that game is the beast, man.
It is not a pretty looking game, but
I will say the best way to play that
combat's
game
real
is
slick.
The best way to play that game is in handheld mode on the Switch. Because that is the best that game is ever going to look, because you don't want that on a big old TV. You don't want to look at that game on a TV. Play it on the Switch.
Woof.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of go back and forth, man. I love turn-based RPGs. I love the like situational, like positional, you know, combat that like evolves a little bit. I love the like heavy RPGs that are ARPGs, like Secret of Mana and stuff. And then I love the fucking straight up like action games where you just get like, you know, because I mean, if you think of another big one, another JRPG that is we have to mention is Dark Souls. I mean, that's a I
don't see that as a JRPG.
100% JRPG. It's a Japanese role playing game.
Yeah, but only on a word level. But it
does not have. It's another one of those JW RPGs.
I just don't see it. I see it more of just like. And you know what I see that game as is like someone made someone made an NES game now today
with stats.
The stats don't make stats don't make an RPG. We had this podcast already.
Stats, classes, adventure. I mean, yeah, that's definitely.
But just because, but the JRPG, but the J in JRPG doesn't just designate where it came from. Like it has to have.
I know what you're saying.
Spirit.
I just don't.
It's not a JRPG.
Sure it is. So you think Nier Automata is a JRPG, but not that game isn't?
I mean, Nier. It's kind of hard for me to say because there's so much action in Nier. Like,
but it's still a JRPG.
Yeah. These are
But then
just
Kingdom
words.
Hearts, there's so much action in Kingdom Hearts. It's hard where to draw the line. But
Yeah.
I mean, we're essentially talking about combat systems, and the only reason I wanted to bring that up is I do think whether or not people love or hate Dark Souls, I think that game has a combat system that's definitely worth talking about in an action RPG that's made in Japan.
Like, because you just like roll, you roll and you wait and you hit.
that's a really good combat system.
So good. My favorite
well,
part is when you roll, and then you wait and then you hit the guy. It's so good.
All the salty tears.
I just don't care for those games, man. I tried Bloodborne. I tried Dark Souls 2. Just like, nah.
I understand why people don't like them, and I have my certain threshold for those games. Like I don't ever finish them. Like I buy them and I play them to a certain extent, and I have a really good time, and then I get to that one boss and I just go, nah, I'm done. But I really enjoy the first half of like all of those games. Like I really do. Except for Bloodborne, that game was too punishing in my opinion. I was just like, oh come on.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have the shield. You couldn't just hold up the shield and be like, stop it.
I only bought that game just because the Victorian kind of horror aesthetic, but that wasn't enough to keep me. What about job class systems? Got some favorite job class systems?
Like the systems, or do I have a favorite job class?
Yes.
Gee, I guess what is it? 5 was the first one.
3
that I remember really doing it.
Oh, yeah. We didn't get 3 over here, but 5. We didn't get 5 until like 2004 or something.
4 kind of, but not really.
No. I mean, he turns from a Dark Knight to a Paladin, but that's like a narrative change.
It's his job changed.
But I'm gonna have a hot take here. Had an awesome job, like a job. That actually had an awesome combat system.
What's this?
Final Fantasy X-2. X-2. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that game.
I'll be over here.
It's a good combat system, though. It really is.
Yeah,
like, it's like a high octane, like active turn-based. You could change job classes like on the fly in the middle of battles and stuff.
It's really cool. Waiter.
Hey, make good tips.
I really, really want I want somebody to make like a parody RPG, Earthbound style, where like you have a job class system, but like it's like real jobs, and so like you're just like you'd be like a taxi driver, and like you have like different moves in combat, whether or not you're like a waiter or a police officer or a taxi cab driver. This game's definitely taking place in New York because I just named like a bunch of jobs in New York.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. So like you're a taxi driver, and like you can yell at the other enemy and like disorient them, or whatever. Hey, watch where you're going, you jackass! And like, oh, enemies confused.
I'm driving here. Whoa.
His ultimate is he just like gets in a cab and runs over the whole team and shit. Dude, that's a game right there. Come on, somebody make that. Please. No, I agree. That was the most like appealing part of that game.
It's the only appealing part of that.
If only I could get through the first 10 minutes of that hop fest.
No, it gets worse. It gets worse.
I can't.
It gets worse.
I remember playing the first, and I remember like uttering to myself, "I'm just never gonna do this."
Yeah. But if you're willing to push through, the combat system is really fun. Also, another hot take. Kind of has a job system, has a different take on a job system. Final Fantasy 13. I love that combat.
It does. I feel like the combat was almost too hands off for me, but that's just my opinion.
What do you
It
mean?
was still fun. It was still a good combat system.
Oh, I see what you mean.
It was a pretty game, but like there were times where I did feel like I didn't have enough control.
I never felt that just because I was. It's like it took away. It took away like the you were. I mean, I was still making constant decisions, but I wasn't making character by character decisions anymore. I was making party scale. You know what I mean? So instead of you in this class do this, you in this class do this, you in this class do this, I'm just saying everyone change to this party makeup and then go. And then like depending on situations, instead of me telling the party what to do, I just changed the party setup.
Yeah, no,
it felt like I was
cool.
orchestrating. Like I was orchestrating instead of micromanaging.
Yeah, which I like I like playing the micro man boy. I don't know, like I think that I don't know. I can't think there's not a whole lot of games that do the job thing. I mean, I guess probably 12 is my favorite.
Which version?
Zodiac Age.
Zodiac Age. That was a little too open for me.
I think I like that they updated it to where it was like anybody could be anything.
Yeah.
Instead
of
the
original version, it was just like everyone is just
they're like
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like we need a little guidance here, bud. But yeah, I don't know. I think it just focused a little better, personally.
Bravely Default, which was pretty much just Final Fantasy V. That game was just Final Fantasy V.
Yeah, I still think I prefer Final Fantasy V over Bravely Default, but I do like the one thing that we should talk about is the saving hits.
Yeah.
Feature, which is so cool in Octopath and Bravely
Yeah, I don't know why more. That's another thing.
It's such a great like risk and reward.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, do you?
I guess that's why I like active time base, because there is a degree of risk and reward, because you have to think, I have X amount of time. I know this enemy is fast. Should I risk going into the menu and doing something complicated, or should I just attack right now? Or should I switch? Press triangle and switch to another character.
Think about what to do on the next.
Yeah, so it's I do like that saving turns kind of thing, because those are the only two games I could think of that did it.
Yeah, and
Octopath. Which I think Bravely Default did it better, but because with Bravely Default you could actually save them to do like specific abilities and stuff. It wasn't just attacking multiple times. Like there was just a little bit more depth to it.
I'm pretty sure you could do that in Octopath.
Like in Octopath, it was just like multi-hit.
No, you could save it. You could save it for spells and stuff. After you get
but I mean, like certain like in Bravely Default, like there were like certain things that you could only do when you had like a certain amount of bravery points. I think it was.
Oh, okay. You're saying like certain moves that.
Yeah, like certain moves. So there's just a little bit more depth to it, but it was pretty much the same kind of thing.
I love the combat in Octopath, and like that's my second favorite part about the game.
Braking system was awesome. I like.
Yeah, break, which also you can kind of follow over into Xenoblade Chronicles. We also have like that kind of system. I mean, it's a real time.
That all started with Final Fantasy 13, like the staggering thing, where like doing a certain thing to a certain enemy can like raises a gauge of some sort, and then it like topples or weakens it.
Xenoblade Chronicles was before 13, wasn't it?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
What year did 13 come out?
I don't know. Before.
Because Xenoblade came out in like 2011, 2010?
Oh yeah, it came out. Yeah. I don't remember when, but 13 came out before.
I feel like there was I feel like there was like a Super Nintendo or PlayStation game that had that in it, but I can't put my finger on it. You have other positional combat systems too, which were interesting, but ultimately I could do without, or like Suikoden 3.
Suikoden 3. I didn't play Suikoden 3.
What?
I only played the first one.
Monster. No, Suikoden 3 is like such a underrated game. The story, there was like so many different paths to take, but the combat was super different.
Was that the first 3D one?
Yes. Yeah, 3 was good. 4 I didn't care for. Excuse me?
I said
3 also had one of the coolest like opening, like the way like, you know, the Chrono Trigger, the PS1 Chrono Trigger has that amazing opening cinematic, and then also Chrono Cross has that amazing opening cinematic and music. Suikoden 3 has one of the coolest, just like anime openings that just does that like montage of ridiculous action over like a really cool soundtrack. Like
I love that.
Cool. But that one had a positional combat system that was good-ish. Wasn't my favorite, but it was good-ish. So let's talk about bad combat systems.
Oh boy, bad combat systems.
What? Because we talk about like plenty of people who got it right. So we know how to do it. If you're doing it right, you copy
doing it. Wow.
Over here.
I mean, this is tied into the combat itself, but boy, there are some real problems with Final Fantasy II's battle system. Not this battle system, but like and play with the combat system. So it uses like the reflective leveling system, like Elder Scrolls. So like if you know Firion attacks with the sword and makes contact, if he does that enough, he'll level up his sword. That type of stuff.
Oh, okay.
It always sounds good on paper, right? But it's rarely done right.
Yeah. That's kind of one of the things I was sad that went away more, like with Skyrim over Oblivion and Morrowind. Because like in those games, like the more you jumped, like your acrobatics would go up. The more you ran, your athletics would go up. Like everything you did was actually
jumped everywhere.
Oh yeah, yeah. Or you left the joystick rubber banded.
Oh yeah,
running against a tree.
Yeah, or like sneaking in a corner in someone's house, rubber banding it, coming back the next day. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So unlike Elder Scrolls, specifically Oblivion, like those leveling systems are broken, but it's still fun. Final Fantasy II is just not fun because the way that equipment is kind of given out in the game, that it doesn't favor you picking one weapon, because you never know when another better version of, you know, if I select swords, who knows when another good sword is going to come along. Like they're not released at once. It's just kind of like a smattering of equipment here and there.
Yeah.
And it's just not good. I mean, that's kind of not combat system, but it is combat because it ties into the combat. But
no, it's definitely combat. I would say, I mean, personally, I don't want to name a game that came out very recently, but Paper Mario.
I'm looking at you.
That game didn't do it very good, and
looking at
that's
you,
one
boy.
of those examples, because there's a lot of games that are just like, oh, the game's not very good in a lot of different places. So obviously, like, if combat's is not going to wow you, that's fine. But man, I've never played a game where all the different parts of a game were so well done. And it was just like, let's just butcher the combat system. Let's just completely make it super annoying. And oh wait, let's put a timer on it too. Let's make it puzzle based instead of making it like, you know, like a active time battle because you know what you're doing. You're picking your menu. You're fighting up menus. I'm Mario. I'm gonna use a hammer. I'm gonna attack this guy. I'm gonna press the button right when I hit him. I'm gonna do extra damage like 1,000-year door. No, I'm going to solve this really weirdly intricate puzzle or really easy puzzle depending because there's no in between because that game just has no idea what it wants to be as far as combat goes. And then it's like, and here's a timer, and then you're like, and so you're sitting here, and you're like, wait, and then if you move. Sometimes you'll screw yourself over. Like it'll be easier if you would have just left it all alone, and then you screw it all up, and everyone's like all over the table, and then it's like time's up, and then it's just like what the fuck? I can't do this. Like
you can't like restart a battle. Like that's it.
That's it.
Wow.
Man. And then on top of that,
Shitty.
the combat is also very long. Like the combat animations last a long time. The combat itself lasts long. And sometimes you'll get into wave battles where you're fighting like 3 waves. So it's literally like 3 different battles in one battle. And you're just like, I just want to get to the mountain. I just want to go over there. I want to go over there, and I can't because there's just fucking guys who won't stop lining up in weird rows. And it's just. Yeah, that's got to be like the most glaring.
Yeah. I mean, I can think of parts of battle systems that I don't like. I think the trance system in Final Fantasy IX is absolutely garbage. It's one of the worst limit break systems.
What do you hate so much about it? I mean, I don't think it's the best, but I don't hate it. It
is the worst because you can't save it battle to battle, first of all, and this has happened to me more times I can even count. But I'm fighting a battle, and Zidane goes into trance, and then before I get to him, Steiner kills the last enemy. Cool. Sure, I'm glad I got to use that trance.
Yeah, so the trance system is very similar to the PEP system in Dragon Quest. Jesus, Dragon Quest 11.
Dragon
of the Dragons.
Dragon.
Except for because it kind of happens more randomly.
Yeah. Than
it does just like a natural buildup of a gauge. But with the PEP system, at least. You save it if you die. If you of course you lose it over time.
Yeah,
of course, but you
but
will.
Still, you're given like a grace period. With 9, it's just like this thing builds up, and then it's like chance. It's just luck if you can even use it because it's done by damage. So usually you get it at the end of a battle because you've been taking damage because you're in a battle, and when you get it, the battle's over, and it's like cool. And plus, the trance animation is super slow. Actually, the battles in general in that game are super slow.
Yeah, but what's awesome is very, very playing slow. That on the Switch or on your phone and turning up the battle speed.
And even that's kind of slow compared to like. It could be faster. So I don't know. I played Final Fantasy IX a lot, and I can't stand that battle system because it's so slow and the trance system always annoys me, but I do like the equipment. The equipment ability system is fantastic.
I can't think of a single Final Fantasy battle system that I don't like. That I played. I haven't played 2, or I don't think I've played. I've played maybe
impressive,
a little
of what?
I think I played a little of 3.
It's 5, but just more bare bones, basically.
But yeah, I mean, 1 is it's obviously super standard, but I mean, 1 is good. 4 is really good. 5 is really good. 6 is really good. 7's really good.
Yeah.
8's is good. 9's is good, in my opinion. Even 10, which is like probably like famously one of in my opinion the most overrated Final Fantasies of all time. I still think it's fantastic.
That's because we're old.
Maybe
Cardinal, we're old.
I have tried to play through that game like 5 different times. So like, don't tell me I haven't given it a chance. I know there's people out there that are like, "Well, bro, you're stupid."
Okay, boomer. Okay.
Yeah, there's people, but it's not boomer because that game came out when I was like
Yeah,
fucking
okay.
16.
Yeah,
Like I
okay.
was definitely like
Yeah, okay, boomer.
prime. I was
No, but it's a nice contrast to Dragon Quest, where Dragon Quest stayed as traditional as possible, and Final Fantasy, for good and bad, tried something different every single time. Like
but
they rarely kept.
always succeeded, and
Yeah.
I can't really think of a bad. Like even the bad Final Fantasies had decent combat systems. Like
Yeah,
know,
like I have problems with Final Fantasy 2 in terms of its like under the hood stuff, but I like battles. I like fighting.
and I
So
still think
it's like
I still think people also like they bitch about 15, but I mean I really enjoyed 15's battle system.
Yeah.
Like I thought it was fun. I thought it was a really cool idea. Huh?
I played through that game twice. I love that game. It had tons of problems though.
Oh yeah, it had lots of problems, but you
Yeah.
know, it was to me it had. I don't know. I feel like people are way too hard on 15, man. I that's like one of my favorites, and I mean, that's the thing. It's like the whole okay boomer thing. It's like, you know,
Okay.
maybe I was just too old when 10 came out, but it's like no, because like I fucking loved 15, and everyone hates 15. 13, yeah, the combat system was like the only thing I liked about it.
Yeah. Well, I liked the plot. No, I liked the story to that game. Did not like the plot. I'm just like, what's
yeah, I like the setup.
I like the story. I like the whole concept of the Fal'Cie and the fate and, you know, this crazy backstory, but it's just like, my gosh, Hope, just kill Snow already. I don't care anymore. Just kill him.
Another
Heroes
one,
don't need plans.
Another one that I think is a fine. So this isn't a JRPG, but I mean we're talking RPGs. I think if anyone can say anything about RPG combat systems, about like in good RPGs, Elder Scrolls and even Fallout to a lesser extent, some rough combat on those guys.
Yep. Like the actual like combat itself, not good.
I mean,
they're just not good. It's super floaty. It never feels substantial. Yeah.
It's always just felt like, and you never feel like you're actually, there's no like haptic feedback or anything. Like you never feel like you're actually doing anything. You feel like you're just waving a wand in front of someone and then they're slowly like dying.
Yeah.
Well, they're dead. Giant sword.
I didn't know they were dying. Yeah. Elder Scrolls.
I think Elder Scrolls might be the worst offender there.
But because you know what? I still put 400 hours into freaking Oblivion.
Well, I think there's something to like the combat may not be great, but it was still fun to do. Yeah. I don't know why. I don't really understand it too much. I think it was just those worlds were so fun to explore, and we don't have a lot of those. Just like go fucking anywhere and do whatever the hell you want. Yeah. A couple other ones. I do think BioWare, for the most part, have been a few of the ones. Again, we're just bringing it to Western for just a sec. A few of the ones who have really mastered a bunch of different types of combat, but all of them were really well done. I think KOTOR's combat was really cool because you actually felt like you were in a lightsaber battle. You would actually like block and do that. And of course, it was all like canned animation stuff, but it still looked really cool when you were in like a battle with another Sith Lord. And then I think Jade Empire had really interesting original combat. It was such a cool idea for.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of like melee combat kind of focused.
The different like switching between your stances and like that some of that shit was so cool. And then by the end of that game, you had like all these crazy things, and it just and then Mass Effect and Dragon Age also have such wildly different. All of them are totally different. Like Dragon Age had such a different, more like strategic, more like almost Dungeons and Dragons level of play.
Yeah, I liked pulling that camera back.
You pull that camera back and just like fucking, oh shit, what am I gonna do? This is like, it's like almost the Divinity Original Sin kind of stuff. And then you have Mass Effect, which is straight up a shooter, but it was an RPG shooter. But the shooting mechanics, unlike Fallout, felt good. They felt well made, especially in 2.
Yeah, especially the first one felt kind of
a little floaty, yeah.
a little funky junky, but
a little funky junky, but still was better than Bethesda. And then EA came in and said, and then killed everyone.
And then they were like,
make Anthem, please.
And then they're like jetpacks. You could tell they became obsessed with jetpacks because like they added jetpacks and then Andromeda, and then Anthem was all about jetpacks. It was just like EA's just like, you know what sells, guys? Not your dignity. Jetpacks.
Not your dignity, it's the jetpack.
You get your ingenuity and creativity out of here, okay?
But sir, I actually have a very interesting
jetpacks.
Okay.
Jetpacks.
We'll do it. Can we add this one part in here? It's this really cool story thread, and
You're fired. Okay.
Okay.
Get your stuff. Scott, get him out of here, Scott.
Scott is loyal to me.
Scott,
or I hired Scott. Scott knows me.
Too bad.
You and me are buds, Scott.
So do you have a favorite JRPG battle system?
Trembling. I'm trembling. Oh man, that's a toughie. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna throw this one towards I'm gonna throw this one a lifeline towards my buddy the Meatball and see do you have a favorite combat system?
Xenogears.
Ooh.
Yeah, I love stamina based battle systems to begin with. I liked the way that they attempted to translate like melee combat into a turn-based. They had like the weak, medium, strong attacks that cost different stamina amounts.
Mm.
And then you can do combos with those, and the more combos you try, you can unlock super powerful combos, and then you can like save stamina and then do like even more super long combos. Cool system. And then they're like, hey, you like that system? It's pretty cool, right? Yeah, take that and do it in a giant robot. And I'm like, okay, I'm sold. I could just do this forever.
Yeah, that's one thing. I haven't played much of Xenogears, but one thing I did enjoy right off the bat was the combat system. I liked the combo. It almost has like a Chrono Cross feel to it.
Yeah, like that kind of like give and take of
percentage of
but it's a lot less complicated and I remember when I first played Chrono Cross, I remember looking at those percentages and be like, what the hell is 86%? What is this? Can I just press a button? It's like, no.
Man, I think I'm gonna have to go with an oldie but a goodie and say I think Chrono Trigger is my favorite.
Yeah.
There's just like nothing I can say about that combat system that isn't positive.
Can't say anything bad about it.
It's just
like
it hasn't been mimicked enough. Which is like you can't get tired of it. Because
say bad about it is like some of the animations can be a little long sometimes. Like that's literally
like the enemy animations, but like for me, I think like like there's some things like we didn't talk much about, right? Like everyone knows like my favorite game of all time is Earthbound, but like we didn't talk about the combat system because there's not a lot to say.
But
other than the rolling counters.
Yeah, the rolling numbers. Yeah. I really wish that was used more. And then the ability to just scare away trash mobs. Like
outside
why isn't that a thing in games? Like
instant kill.
Yeah, like if the game can already figure out if I'm going to kill an enemy in one hit, so why would it be wasting my time? Like just boom, walk into them.
And
boom.
I loved in Earthbound when it would show the green swirl because you knew that meant you were gonna. So it fools you into thinking you were going to combat.
Yeah.
And it was like you won. Oh shit! Yeah. That's another thing that I like about Dragon Quest XI S.
Yeah.
That they changed from the PS4 version. So in the PS4 version, yes, you could run over monsters and kill them instantly when you were more powerful than them, but you wouldn't get any XP. In the Switch version,
Yeah,
you get XP now.
Or so a small amount. It's like 5-10%, but still.
I mean, it's
awesome.
still like it makes it worth it. It makes it like I'm gonna go run that guy down just because it's fun.
It's just fun.
It's just fun to do.
It rewards you, like even a small bit. It rewards you for just having fun.
Having fun, and that's fun. To me what a good RPG combat system does is it makes you have fun. And I think for me, because there's been so many of those of like the ATB, right? Because I love 6's combat, I love 7's combat, I love 8's combat, I love 9, I love 10. It's like it's hard for me to pick. Of course 10 is an ATB, but like, and of course Chrono Trigger is, but it's Chrono Trigger to me is a different thing.
Yeah, it's a different beast.
It may be active time.
It's like it's like a cousin of the ATB. Like it's ATB technically, but it doesn't feel.
It's like that gorgeous cousin, but you're related, so it's
weird. You're like, I really want to make out with you, but I mean, it's immoral and unethical and illegal, I think.
Ooh.
Yikes.
Like a Zizo. But yeah, and I can't, in trying to pick any of those that are so similar, my mind is more drawn to the more original combat systems that you don't see very often. Because there's tons of examples, like you said with Xenogears. There's like nothing else really like it. The closest thing to Xenogears maybe would be Chrono Cross, but it's so different because they're different. Like Xenogears, you're fighting on like a 2D kind of. It's not 2D. It's like 3D plane, but like the camera position.
2D sprites on a 3D
to your
plane.
side, whereas Chrono Cross is more of like a sweeping camera and full 3D character models. But like, I don't know. Like for me, there's just not enough games that have done Chrono Trigger's combat. Like. What the hell?
I don't know why.
Everyone like
and the ones that have
games of all time.
The ones that have been like all of the like I Am Setsuna and Lost Sphere and like those kind of like touted as, but like they did. There. Wahapa.
Yeah. And I mean, I just think that Chrono Trigger is like the only other game that does Chrono Trigger the way that I think like is even remotely close is Cosmic Star Heroine, which is like an indie game. So that's weird. Well, looks like we lost our friend Meatball. Or did he lose me? He's dying. Are you dying? There he is. He's back.
We're having all sorts of technical difficulties.
Yeah. Well, sorry about that, guys. We're gonna go ahead and fire Kyle. What was his name? Corn?
Scat.
Corn?
Yeah.
You're out of here, Kyle. So
now I have 15 Final Fantasies to play through. So
you know what? I'm gonna play through. Wait, 15? You mean? What are you playing through mainline?
Final Fantasy. Mainline minus the online plus tactics and Dissidia.
Oh wow, wowie
zowie! Because Final Fantasy Dissidia is actually a direct prequel to Final Fantasy 1. So it's gonna have full circle.
That's nuts,
bro. I'm crazy.
You are nutty. You nutty little scavenger. What the hell is happening? This is the worst. This is the worst. So, anyways, can you hear me now?
We're just gonna go. Okay, guys.
I'm just gonna leave the keys right here, and you guys lock up on your way out. So yeah, that's our discussion on the best and worst combat systems of JRPGs, and we threw a little Western RPGs in there for you guys because some of you are racist.
I know.
Don't want to play the Jrpg RPGs. Hey, we absolutely love you guys. Thanks so much for stopping by and listening to our cray technical difficulties. And thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe or I'll punch you in your fucking dick. Until next time.
There will not actually be any dick punching.